Good Friday afternoon and welcome to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for kicking off your almost start to the weekend with us here in downtown Providence. And as we do every Friday, kick off with former state representative, former Deputy Secretary of State, now heads up Stages of Freedom, Ray Rickman, to give his big view.
Talk about a very difficult subject today. Since 1980, I have been conducting sexual harassment prevention workshops. MIT, Harvard, Lifespan, and the list goes on and on and on. City of Providence, of course, Warwick, Pawtucket, you name it. Firefighters, police officers, janitors, everybody. It's very difficult because 30 years ago when I started this, most men, not all men, most men had a certain view that they were permitted to say things, touch people. They've been doing it for 100+ years. So I would talk about space, people's personal space. Stay out of it. Be careful when you're in it. You'll get in trouble for doing something 2 feet away from a person. And if you were 4 feet, you'd get in less trouble or no trouble. And then I would talk to them about their language and how do you shake hands and who do you kiss on the cheek and who you don't. And I haven't done a workshop in a year, but before that I'd do 20, 30 a year. The last workshop I did was just fascinating. It was for a community college. I won't tell you which one. And some of the janitors were talking as if it were 1985. They just, I wasn't talking to her and I got in trouble. I'd say the Supreme Court in the sexual harassment case said, you're talking to everyone who can hear you. And it's your responsibility to know who can hear you. So if I'm talking to Joe Smith and he's 3 feet away, and there's a woman 6 feet away, I ought to know she can hear what I'm saying to him, and vice versa. Also, they say it's your responsibility. People don't have to say, don't talk about sex in front of me. You can see from their body language, from the way they're frowning, how they leave when you come in the room. You know they don't want you to do it, and you can't pretend. But the law requires you to get permission to talk about those things. Permission. Can I talk about? You have to ask. And generally, you don't ask because it'd be inappropriate to ask. If it's inappropriate to ask, it's inappropriate to do it. So now let's come to Joe Biden. I've met the Vice President of the United States twice. And the first time he gave me a nice handshake, one of those A+ handshakes. I'm Joe Biden, I love people. The next time I told him he and I had met before, I wasn't disappointed that he didn't remember me. It was 6 months later. I told him I was a friend of Patrick Kennedy's and we'd met before. And he went, oh! And then he gave me the big hug and cheek-to-cheek kind of thing, kind of apology, affection. Apology. It's Joe Biden. So I've watched Joe Biden off and on for 30 years. Met him twice, been in a room with him 8, 9 times. And I've watched at least 3 women, if not 4, accuse him of inappropriateness. No one has gone so far as to accuse him of sexual harassment, thank goodness. But they've accused him of putting hands on shoulder, basically kissing a woman in the hair in the back of the head. I said to myself, yuck, who wants to do that? And that's Joe Biden. They create a new category, and that is you're here raising thousands of dollars for my campaign. I'm so thrilled you're here, but you did something I don't like. And I thought to myself, and it's the first time I've ever said this in public, because I think I always side with the woman, no matter what the accusation or no matter what the action. I always side with the woman. It's her body. But I'm not going to this time, because in all of these cases, Joe Biden was out being super friendly, raising money for these particular people, and it was all kind of approved. You be nice to me, I'll let you be Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden needs to have come to one of my workshops and learned that you don't do cheek to cheek until you are invited. And I hope he's listening to Nancy Pelosi. She said you should do that. I've watched her. You should do that. I do that. Arm's length. You don't hug the person until they invite you. But I think we should be nice to Joe Biden. He didn't know he was doing anything wrong because I think in almost all these cases it was an agreed upon, and it either got beyond where the woman wanted it to go, or they're telling on him at this point in order to hurt him. I don't know which one it is, but I feel sorry for him, and I wish they hadn't done it. Now, I'm kind of chicken to have this conversation with you because I've worked all my adult life to be a feminist. So please don't think I'm saying anything other than I feel sorry for Joe Biden, and this is a free lesson for all the men and the few women. Be careful who you touch and hug in any kind of way unless you are invited.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Go Local Live. I'm Go Local News editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us for this Friday afternoon for the latest in news and politics and some big news out of the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council and the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office of Boston. So I'd like to welcome Bob Billington and May Lynn. Thank you both for coming in. Okay. Well, should have started with May.
Thank you.
Big news this week. Director General Douglas Chu announced a $120,000 gift to Pawtucket in the way of 6 new boats for the annual Taiwan Day Festival and the Rhode Island Dragon Boat races that are taking place in September. So let's take a few steps back, and I'll probably have May start with this as well. I believe there was a Rhode Island elected official who had eyed the boats. That would be Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee. Now, there already are 6 boats in the city. This will double the size of the fleet. And we've got some also local benefactors here as well that we'll get into too. So let's talk about the process and the relationship that's really strengthened and evolved over the years between Blackstone Valley and the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office?
Okay, that's a very long story, but I just took it in short. The United States and Taiwan has a very special relations. Back to 40 years ago in 1979, we had U.S. Congress passed a special, unique legislature about Taiwan Relations Act, or in short, TRA, which lays the foundation of the United States and Taiwan to continue our relationship, despite we don't have an official diplomatic ties. For the past 40 years, we do have maintained good relations with United States and also with the 50 states here in U.S. So particularly with Rhode Island. For the past 20 years, we have enjoyed, not only for the trade and educational exchange, we are also as a important partner with Rhode Island in the cultural exchange. For instance, we have this Dragon Boat Race and Taiwan Day Festival for 20 years ago,
Yes,
right? Under
yes.
your great leadership,
Thank
we
you.
have the very first one, and we helped to fundraise the very first generation of the Dragon Boat.
Yes.
So this year, in return to celebrate the 40th anniversary of TRA, as well as the 20 years anniversary of the Dragon Boat Race and Taiwan Day Festival, we also, under the request, we kind of, in response to the Lieutenant Governor McKee's request back in 2017, my office helped to fundraise six new boats, six new boats coming in this year to join the competition this year. So that's what we are doing right now.
And
So
we're
very
excited.
exciting. Bob,
Yeah.
what does this mean for the festival?
Well, this is going to actually allow us to expand the festival. This year we're going to 2 days. We're going to start on Friday night and then be all day Saturday, into a little bit into Saturday night. It'll also allow us to bring in smaller teams. Normally
Okay.
we have teams which are about 24 paddlers.
Exactly.
It's a big team, and so we thought the smaller boats would allow us to bring in teams around 18 paddlers. So that'll make
Okay.
it a little bit easier to attract corporations.
So will they be different divisions? Will the 18s race against the 24s? Will there be different fleets, if you will?
Well, we're still working out the details because we want to use the existing 24 paddler boats with the 18 paddler boats, and so we're still playing around with how it's going to work. But they will all be on the water at one time. It's going to be quite exciting.
And let's talk a little bit as well, again, this big, wonderful gift, and thank you for here in Rhode Island for contributing to this. If you've been to these days,
Yeah.
it's exciting, a wonderful cultural celebration. There were some Rhode Islanders who helped make this happen as well. The Central Falls Luke Charitable Foundation helped cover the shipping costs
Yes.
because it costs a pretty penny to send
Exactly.
6 boats from Taiwan over to the United
So
States.
we do appreciate their support.
Yeah, and they're not light. They're heavy boats. They're a little bit less than a ton apiece. They're going to be somewhere around 40 feet long, so it's going to take several containers, but they will come complete with the life jackets, the paddles, the steering oars. And the Charitable Foundation has been a part of Taiwan Day and the Chinese Dragon Boat races since the beginning. So with their support, we're going to get this amazing gift safely into the Pawtucket water.
So May, talk a little bit about the festival and what it means for the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office to have that presence in Pawtucket, the celebration, because it's more than just the dragon boats. It's food, it's performance. I mean, it's an all-encompassing, great fun celebration. And what does it mean to be able to share that here in Rhode Island?
You know, as we just mentioned that this year is a joyful year for both Taiwanese people and also the United States government and people. So we have a little bit preview on this coming Sunday. So April 7th, we are going to have a kind of reception open to the public at the Blackstone Valley Visitor Center.
Yeah.
So we will have, as we mentioned, we will celebrate the 40th anniversary of TRA, as well as the 20th anniversary of the Dragon Boat Race and Taiwan Festival, as well as the 6th newly built boat. So we will have this reception. We will prepare a little bit of Taiwanese snacks, refreshment, and also have a photo exhibition to mark the important moment over the past years in the U.S.-Taiwan relations. Also, we have a film to broadcast at that time and some arts craft. I personally will be there at the arts and craft to fold the
Great.
lantern. So we will come and encourage all the people here to join with us to celebrate on this coming Sunday at 1 p.m.
Very good. We'll be sure to provide links to that. So if folks are watching and you want to take part, of course, looking ahead towards September as well. And Bob, you kind of alluded to the new size of the boats being able to bring folks in. So let's talk a little bit about the Tourism Council's goals, bringing in the wider community. What would you like folks to know who are watching, or businesses or people who might think about participating? Who have you gotten, and what, you know, how wide are you trying to cast this net?
Well, we've learned that local companies, Hasbro, Colette Vacations, companies like that love to put a team together. It's great for bonding. They'll practice all summer long. We provide opportunity. We teach them how to paddle. They come out on race day, and for us, the more community members we can have and draw, the better. But we also draw the professional teams. But really, these newer boats are going to let us, we think, engage more of the community.
Okay.
The more people we get down to the Pawtucket River and the Blackstone River, the more they are convinced that it's worthy of enjoyment, investing, and the Taiwan Dragon Boats just help us do that.
Well, very good. Big news again this week out of the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council and the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office of Boston. So May Lynn and Bob Billington, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. And again, we'll provide links for the event taking place this weekend. And if you want to mark your calendars for September, and if you're a business watching and saying, I want to get my employees signed up and involved in this, we'll be sure to point you in the right direction. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here with our next guest on Go Local Live.
Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Go Local Live. I'm Go Local News editor Kate Nagel. We'd like to welcome in my next guest, Jeff Sullivan, for coming back here into studio.
Thank you, Kate. Thanks for having me.
With the Barker Playhouse hat off and the hat as the co-chair of the Rhode Island chapter of the American Parkinson Disease Association. April is the awareness month for the group, both locally and nationally.
Correct. April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. That's right.
And 3,000 Rhode Islanders affected approximately by Parkinson's.
Yeah, approximately, here in the United States, approximately 1 million people are living with Parkinson's disease, 10 million worldwide, and like you said, 3,000 right here in Rhode Island.
So let's talk a little bit about your involvement as chair and raising awareness now, again, to take the month and take this opportunity. Let's talk about the work that the chapter does here with local chapters in support, because you have a history and you know that these resources are more recent and so critical.
Well, my wife and I co-chair the organization together, and we decided to get involved in honor of Bonnie's dad, who had lived with Parkinson's for a long time. And 10 years ago, where they lived, they did not have the resources that we have here in Rhode Island. So we became involved, and we saw what a difference this organization is making here locally. We wanted to jump in with both feet. So what kind of resources are available here in Rhode Island? First off, our organization supports 13 local support groups that are spread out all over the state. We have 9 boxing locations, which is very cool. We can talk about more about that in a second. And then we have a respite care program. And the respite care program is very interesting because people that are living with Parkinson's, it's not just the folks that have the symptoms. It can be very difficult on the caregivers too. So what our respite program does is provide resources and financial support for caregivers who frankly need a break. They need to be able to go to a wedding or go to their grandson's graduation, and we can help with that.
So talk a little bit, you had mentioned I want to go into the boxing program and how important movement is. Because tell folks a little bit about, if they don't know, if they've heard of Parkinson's and they don't know exactly what it entails.
Okay, sure. Well, first off, Parkinson's is a movement disorder, and symptoms can come on for people generally over the age of 50. Folks have symptoms of Parkinson's, although about 10% of the folks have what's called early onset, and that's when the symptoms start prior to age 50. Motor symptoms can include tremors, which are usually considered uncontrollable rhythmic shaking, stiffness of movement, rigidity of muscles, difficulty communicating. Those are the motor symptoms. Non-motor symptoms would include sleep disorders, anxiety, nervousness, constipation, those kinds of things. And so it's progressive and it's chronic, which means over time symptoms get worse.
So how does boxing play into sort of the treatment and alleviation and basically addressing folks with Parkinson's?
Well, you know, the boxing is really cool. I met a woman from South County. Her name was Pat. She's 70 years old. She's been living with Parkinson's for a while. And she was telling when she started to learn how to box, her quality of life just increased tenfold. And I don't know the ins and outs of how the boxing works, but what we hear is learning how to box helps people manage their symptoms. It gives them more confidence throughout the day, and it's really cool.
And so let's talk a little bit, there's a number of events coming up throughout the summer and the fall as well to help support, again, the chapter.
Well, you know, there are, and there's a lot of things that, you know, that we do to support people living with Parkinson's. We can't do it alone. We can't do it without help from people, both time and money. So we have 3 events coming up over the course of the summer. The first one is in just a couple of weeks. It's called the Run for the Rose Gala. It's going to be at the Crown Plaza in Warwick on Friday, May 3rd. We're honoring 2 longtime board members, Bruce and Elaine Belvin, who've been board members on the APDA for 20 years and have done an amazing job helping us support people living with Parkinson's. Run for the Roses, it's a Kentucky Derby theme, right? Yeah. So we encourage men to wear bow ties, dress in seersucker suits. The women will wear fancy hats. It'll be a great night. Dining, dancing, mint juleps. So we really look forward to people there. A couple weeks later, we have our 12th annual Optimism Golf Tournament held at Quinnesset Country Club. That event is going to honor legendary URI coach Tom Brennan. So your donation for that event includes a 2-hour pro clinic, lunch, 18 holes with cart, prime rib dinner, that kind of thing. And Quinnesset's a great course. And you don't have to be a scratch golfer to play at Quinnesset. You can get out there and hack it up like the rest of us. And then last but not least is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and that is the Optimism Walk and 12K held at Goddard Park on September 7th. And, you know, sponsorship for these events is very important, and I want to thank Navigant Credit Union for being a major sponsor of the golf tournament. We want to thank MetLife right here in Warwick for being the presenting sponsor of the walk. But the gala, however, we're still in need of a sponsorship. So if there's anybody watching today that would like more information on how to become a sponsor, please visit our website, APDA Parkinson /community/Rhode Island, or you can also contact the folks at the APDA Parkinson Center at Kent County Hospital right here in Warwick.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time to come in with this being an awareness month to let folks know a little bit more, again, what the chapter does for those who are facing Parkinson's here. And before we let you go, Jeff, is there anything else you'd like to share with viewers while we have you here in studio?
Well, if you want to get involved, if you want more awareness, visit our website, call the Parkinson Center.
Well, I appreciate it. Jeff Sullivan, co-chair of the American Parkinson Disease Association here in Rhode Island. I'd like to thank your wife as well.
Great.
Thank you for coming in
Thank
today.
you, Kate. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with our last guest here on Go Local Live. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Go Local Live. I'm Go Local News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us this Friday afternoon here in downtown Providence. We're going to go just slightly north to Bryant University with Will Tondo, the director of Derby Days at Bryant University. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to come down here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Because you have a big week coming up. Now, at Bryant University, you are with the Sigma Chi fraternity looking to raise $50,000 for the Huntsman Cancer Institute. You were at the helm last year, raised $26,000. You have a week of events coming up. That is a lot of money. So tell us a little bit about your involvement and what you want folks to know.
Yeah, so what the Huntsman Cancer Institute is, it's a research hospital out in Salt Lake City, Utah. All proceeds and donations go directly towards cancer research and patient care. Every chapter across the country raises money for this hospital. This year we set a goal of $50,000, which will pay for one clinical trial, which is something that everyone's been impacted with cancer, so we want to try to give our part as much as we can. And we have a ton of different events, a lot of different sponsorship opportunities and fundraising opportunities to get this money. So we're very thankful for all the help and excited for the week.
And a lot of events planned for next week between treasure hunts, a Quidditch tournament, involving local restaurants and more. So as the director putting on that fundraising cap, talk with us about the planning process of leading up to this week and how you're going to engage the community and hopefully raise a large amount of funds.
Absolutely. So we really started planning over the summer, and then once we got back to the semester, we really got the wheels rolling. We reached local sponsors, whether it was restaurants, other companies, just to offer any kind of support that they really would like to offer. And to engage the community, we have over 200 different members from the Bryant University School with their different involvements in organizations, their network of people. So we have a big support group behind us, and we're really excited for what's to come.
Very important question. Will you be playing Quidditch?
I will not be playing Quidditch, but I might make an appearance as a Golden Snitch. We don't know yet, but no, I got to direct the event.
So, you're with the Sigma Chi fraternity. As you mentioned, this is a national effort to raise this money for one clinical trial. Talk with us a little bit about that role with the fraternity hat and being a college student as well. Philanthropy is a very strong component of Greek life. And what would you like folks to know about the college experience for fraternity members and sorority members in this day and age, that they're really involved with the community?
Absolutely. One of the biggest stereotypes that Greek life has that, they really don't care about things more than themselves. It's all about the parties, that kind of life. But with Sigma Chi and a lot of other Greek organizations, we're really focused on the philanthropy, giving back to the community, helping out people that are in need. And Sigma Chi is a great component of that. It's our national mission to be the generation to end cancer. And we're just one school, a little small school in Rhode Island, trying to give our part. So we're excited for everything. We're really hoping that we raise the money, and we hope that one day we do end cancer.
So you're part, again, of that Sigma Chi network from around the country and soon to be a graduate of Bryant University. Tell us, what are your plans for the future?
So I'm still actively applying. Love to be in the Northeast area, but anything that really, I'm really open with anything, open book, open door. I'm a marketing major, so if you're looking for a marketer, I'm your guy. But other than that, just enjoying the next couple weeks and looking forward to the future.
So staying in the Northeast, I know we talked before, you do come from Long Island. Has Rhode Island kind of gotten into your blood?
I do enjoy Rhode Island. Providence is a beautiful city. Love Smithfield with everything. I got a family out at Bryant too, so really thankful for what Rhode Island's offered to me, so I would definitely consider it.
Okay, and Bryant as well, always look to focus on young college students doing good in the community. And again, Will Tondo, director of Derby Days at Bryant, with a big fundraising goal and a big week ahead. So I'm sure you've got a busy weekend. I appreciate your taking the time to come here into the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And of course, we'll provide links to that as well if you want to learn more up at Bryant University. And that just about wraps up another week here of Go Local Live in downtown Providence and the State House. If you missed it, we did have the opportunity to interview Director of Administration Michael D.B.A's yesterday on GoLocalProv.com right now. So continue to check into GoLocalProv.com, find us on Facebook throughout the weekend, and check back in on Business Monday when Go Local CEO Josh Fenton is back here downtown on Go Local Live. I'm Go Local News Editor Kate Nagel.